Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, so I want to tell you something about next week. Okay, so can you hear me? You have my voice and my video? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So okay, for next week, please, because it's your test day, test week, right? So um, please bring any question you have about the test and the material. Any question you have, please bring it to next week. Okay. So I'm gonna make a very small PowerPoint presentation probably next week if I don't get any question from you guys. But please bring your question. I already see some people emailing me with questions, which is very good. So it means that it is important for them. The course is important, and they're going through the test, through the labs. They're practicing and all those things. So pretty good. So but next week, please bring your questions. So the next week is going to be question and answer sessions. Okay. So as I said, I might prepare. I will prepare some a small PowerPoint with all the formula and all the thing. But I rather you guys come with me with questions. Okay, and then we can share that question in the class. We can solve the question in the class and those things. So it's going to be a question and answer session rather than I present something and you guys just listening. Okay, I don't wanna do that next week because your text week you might come with a lot of questions and you don't know how to solve this problem, you don't know how to solve that problem. So you probably went to the mock test for a couple of times, probably just find some question mock tests are hard. You want to share with me because you want to prepare for your final test, right? So please do that before you do the final test, okay? So that you become more familiar and your problem are solved and basically prepare for test one, okay? Uh, and you have the direction for test one. Is 90 minutes. But before that, please do some couple of mock tests. Okay, so do some mock tests, make familiar with the mock tests, make yourself familiar with the mock tests. You have question, bring it to the next week session so we can solve the problem together. So that would be great. So I really appreciate if you can do that. Okay, so you just go to the mock test or labs, find any problem which is hard, bring it here, we solve it together. That would be good. So we can just practice it together. Okay, that would be good. So, and also one more time, please guys, don't forget to finish the labs. Lab 1 and 2 time is over. Some of you guys, I saw some of you guys that didn't even touch it. So I'm sorry guys, if you don't touch it, means you don't get any mark for them. So you already 5% of your final mark. So please do the lab 3, lab 4. I believe you can do lab 4 right now as well. The deadline is I think somewhere in February. But please don't just leave them behind at the last days, and then at the last day you don't have time. You say, okay, that doesn't really matter. It's like 2%. The 2% doesn't matter, but these all add up, right? So 2%, 2%, 2% is going to be 20%, 20, 30%, right? So, and you mark from being A become B because just you being a little bit sloppy and say, okay, I'm just going to do it later. I'm just going to do it later and all those things. So, okay. Just make sure you do the labs and mock test for sure, and then prepare with your questions. Come to me next week. In the next week's session, we're gonna discuss your questions and answer. It's gonna be question and answer. As I said, the next week's session is gonna be question and answer. Okay. Um, and then good luck with the test one, huh? All right, so let me just go share my screen again and then go for the next PowerPoint. All right. You see my PowerPoint, right?
yes.
Yeah. All right. So any question until now? Okay, no question, it means good. So what is effective interest rate? Okay, effective interest rate is equivalent interest rate that is compounded annually. Okay, effective interest rate is equivalent interest rate. We learn how to calculate the equivalent interest rate, right? So if they give you an interest rate with any compounding frequency and ask you for equivalent interest rate with different compounding frequency, we know the formula, right? So now the different compounding frequency this time is just annually, just one. Compounding frequency is one, okay? So that means effective interest rate. Effective interest rate is basically nominal interest rate with compounding frequency of 1, or is nominal interest rate with annual compounding interest rate. Okay, so that's effective interest rate. So so for any kind of interest rate with any kind of compounding frequency, you will have only one effective interest rate. Okay, so it means that effective interest rate is equivalent to any periodic interest rate with any compounding frequency. Okay, so one effective interest rate for all of them. Okay, and how do you calculate it? You calculate it basically based on you have the periodic interest rate and you have compounding frequency. You use this formula. Okay, so it's going to be 1 plus I m power m minus 1. If you remember, we had the 1 plus I1. So if you remember, we had I2 equal to 1 plus I1 power of m1 divided by m2 minus 1, right? So in this case, m2 is 1, okay? M2 is 1, then and also I2 is equal to J2 because M2 is 1, okay? So basically, effective interest rate is nominal interest rate, the compounding frequency of 1 year, or annual compounding frequency, so that M2 is 1, and this guy is directly equal to J2, or effective F, okay? So that's going to be the equation for effective interest rate, okay? This is very important because banks are using the effective interest rate basically for the calculation. So they probably do some interest compounding monthly, daily, or whatever, but they definitely go to effective interest rate to give you, for example, if you talk to a bank and say, our interest rate is going to be 3.5%, okay? And 3.5% is effective interest rate, okay? And that effective interest rate means something different daily. Like for interest rate daily, it's going to be something different, right? So, or if it's monthly, if it's compounded daily, it's going to be different. If it's compounded monthly, it's going to be different, right? So, but the effective interest rate is always the same, okay? So by definition, the effective interest rate F results in the same future value as a nominal interest rate with a given compounding frequency, okay? So that's basically the equation for effective interest rate. So as I said, effective interest rate F is annually compounding. So it's compounding annually for a given interest rate J, okay, at a different compounding frequency, okay? So how do you calculate the effective interest rate using calculator? Let's go to calculator. So let's go for the calculator and then do it together. Okay. So I managed also to make a 9 decimal point. Okay. So you use second iconv. Okay. That's how you move to effective interest rate mode. Okay. So for example, here you have a question. They say nominal interest rate 8% compounded monthly. Okay.
Sorry, Professor, I didn't follow. I was looking for the norm. I was
So NOM is nominal interest rate. Okay. So 8 is they for example they say.
I mean, where do you get what do you press norm for?
Oh, so where? Okay, so let me just create from this mode. Okay, so CLC,
Sure.
TVM. Okay, so now is the calculator in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You do second, you push second button. and ICONF 2.
I
Number 2.
can't.
ICONF. Okay.
Got
Number
it.
2. And then you have NOM, you have effective interest rate, and you have compounding frequency. Okay. So for example, you have 8% nominal interest rate with compounding frequency of monthly, and then they ask you what's going to be effective interest rate, and then CPT on effective, 8.29. Okay. So CPT on effective, you put effective, you go to effective, you put CPT, it calculates you effective interest rate based on the two number which you given, nominal interest rate and compounding frequency. Okay. You understand this? All right.
Okay.
So that's how you calculate the effective interest rate based on the nominal interest rate. So for any kind of nominal interest rate, any kind of compounding frequency, you can find the effective interest rate for that nominal interest rate by using the calculator method. Okay. All right. So let's. So which of these are true for nominal and effective interest rate? Okay. All right. So nominal interest rate is the quoted or a steady interest rate, right? So that's right. So the nominal interest rate is the steady interest rate. Effective interest rate compounded annually is the nominal interest rate. That's the other way, right? So the nominal interest rate compounded annually is going to be effective interest rate, not the other way. So this is the other way. This is the nominal interest rate compounded annually is effective interest rate. That's the right one. Okay. Effective interest rate is effective interest rate is just meaning of nominal interest rate compounded annually. Okay. So this is not right. Nominal interest rate is only used to express annually compounding interest rate. So nominal interest rate is only used to express annually compounding interest rate. That's not true, right? So nominal interest rate can be compounded daily, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, right? So it's not only used to express annual interest rate. So this is not right, and this is the other way. So this basically D is rephrasing the B. Okay, okay. The nominal interest rate compounded annually is effective interest rate. Okay. All right. What's the effective interest rate that corresponds to 4% compounded semi-annually? Okay. Okay, so let's use the equation first, and then we use the calculator method. So it's 4% compounded annually. Okay, so the equation say, let's come to equation. Equation say F effective interest is Y plus I power of M minus 1. Okay, I is periodic interest rate. M is compounding frequency, right? So I here is periodic interest rate. So it's 4% is nominal interest rate, right? And compounded semi-annually means M equal to 2, right? Compounding frequency is 2. 4 is going to be a nominal interest rate. So periodic interest rate is going to be nominal interest rate divided by compounding frequency, which is going to be 0.04 divided by 2, 0.02, right? So this is I. We find I. But what's M? M is equal to 2. Then we can calculate this, right? So 1 plus 0.02 power of 2 minus 1, which is going to be 4.4, 0.04404. Make sure you multiply by 100 and put the percent sign in front of it, which is going to be 4.04%. Okay. So if you want to use calculator, let's do it in calculator method. Okay. So 4% compounded semi-annually. Okay. Let's clear everything, get out of this mode, and then clear everything, clear TVM, clear everything, and then again get back to ICONF mode. So nominal interest rate is going to be 4, right? 4%, and then semi-annually, right? Compounding frequency is 2, right? So 2 is compounding frequency, okay? And now what you want to know what's effective? It's 4.04, right? So 4.04 is effective, okay? Yeah, so that's very simple, okay? All right, let's solve another example here. I give you guys 3 minutes for this because these are simple examples. Calculate the effective interest rate that corresponds to 8% compounded quarterly, okay? I'm gonna do it myself too. All right, let's see what people answered here. All right. Yeah, I got a lot of D. Got a lot of D. Yes, D is right. And how we do it, basically using paper and pen method, we have J, right? J, which is 8. We need to find I, right? So it's going to be, I is going to be J divided by 4, which is compound quarterly, right? Compound quarterly means compounding frequency M is equal to 4, right? 4, and you have J, and then J divided by M is equal to 0.02. That's going to be I. And F, which is effective interest rate, is going to be 1 plus I power of M minus 1. I is 0.02, M is equal to 4, right? Compounding frequency. And then we calculate this, it's going to 8.25, like 0.0824, which you multiply by 100, it's going to 8.24%, okay? Using calculator method. Okay, so using calculator method, let's do a calculator method. So 8% compound quarterly, right? So let's go to calculator. So nominal is 8%, compounded quarterly, which is every 3 months. So it's going to, compounded frequency is going to be 4. And what's effective? Calculate 8.24. 8.24, okay? That's simple. All right, another example, I'll give you another 3 minutes for this. If an interest rate of 1.2% per month. Okay, so this is a tricky part of this question, okay? Interest rate of 1.2% per month. So it doesn't say it's compounded monthly. It said per month, okay? It's charged by a credit card company. What effective rate, interest rate should be disclosed to the borrower, okay? So this case, it give you I directly, okay? It doesn't give you J, it just give you I directly, okay? So you have like 3 minutes for this as well. So just make sure that you have I, so you don't, you see 1.2% per month. It doesn't say compounded monthly. That's sometimes you have this tricky question, guys. You have to make sure you read the question correctly, okay? So 1.2% per month. So it means that it give you I directly. So, okay, so you have 3 minutes for this as well. All right, so let's look at the answers. All right, let's look at the answers. I'll get quite a lot of A. I hope the A is right. Yes, A is right. How do we do it? Okay. So the good thing, the only difference between this question and the other question is that 1.2% is set per month. Okay, guys, you really need to read the questions correctly, right? So if you set 1.2% compounded monthly, then this 1.2% is going to be J, right? It's going to be your nominal interest rate. But if you say 1.2% per month, means every month you get this interest. It means it's periodic interest rate, right? You don't need to calculate the periodic interest rate anymore because it's already given to you. Okay, so I is already given to you. Okay, so and then M, what's M is going to be 12 company frequency because it's per month, so it's monthly, right? So it's monthly, and then you use the effective interest rate formula. 1.01 plus 0.012 power of 12 minus 1. It's going to be 15.39. Okay. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is in calculator method, right? So the calculator method is since it's given you the 1.2% per month, means your periodic interest rate is going to be 1.2%, right? So 0.012, right? And then you want to know what's the nominal interest rate, right? Nominal interest rate is going to be periodic interest rate multiplied by compounding frequency, which is 12. It's going to be 14.4. So you put that nominal interest rate 14.4 in calculator. You set the number of compounding. You set the compounding frequency at 12, which is the monthly, and then you find the effective interest rate. Let's do it in the calculator together as well. Okay. So it's 14.4. Okay, I already did that actually. So yeah. Okay. So let's clear everything first. Second, iconv. That's 14.4 as nominal interest rate, 43.4 as nominal interest rate, and what's the compounding frequency is 12. It's monthly, right? So it's 12, and then what's going to be the effective interest rate? CPT and effective interest rate is going to give you 15.38. Yeah. Any question? All right, no question. We're gonna move to next example. At what effective interest rate will
I was just gonna ask, what's the difference between F and J? Sometimes they're the same. Right?
Yeah, so no, J, okay, so J is, okay, so J if compounded annually is gonna be F, okay?
Yeah.
J if compounded annually is gonna be F. But if J is not compounded annually, it's compounded semi-annually or daily or monthly or weekly or whatever, it's not going to be F. So you have to calculate I first, and then you use the formula, right? This formula. 1 plus I power m minus 1, okay? You have to find F, okay? So F is basically J if compounded annually. Otherwise, you need to find I, and then M, and then use this equation to find F, okay?
Okay.
Do you get it? Kind of get it? Fully get it? Did you get it? Do you understand it?
I should use the lecture recording, like after class, to go back and.
Yeah. So F is J if it's compounded annually. If it's not compounded annually, then you have to use this equation. So you have to find I first, and then M, which is number of compounding.
Why do you need to find J in here?
Which one? Here? Oh, okay. So, all right. So, okay. So let me explain this. Okay. So it's say 1.2% per month. Okay.
Okay.
So we need to find the nominal interest rate compounding monthly. Okay. So nominal interest rate compounding monthly is going to be interest rate per month, yeah,
Yep.
multiplied by 12. Okay, that's going to be nominal
Yep.
interest rate compounding monthly. This is not nominal interest rate compounding annually. If we use if we use nominal interest rate compounding annually, this is effective interest rate. We don't need to do this, okay? But this is nominal interest rate compounding monthly, okay? Let's go back to the concept of compounding, right? What was the concept of compounding? Compounding means that per period you get interest per period. This is the period is months right now, okay? Every month you get 1.2%, okay? So the period is 1.2 is a month, okay? So you want to know what's the nominal interest rate. Compounded monthly means that you have to multiply this interest rate, which is per month, by 12 to find nominal interest rate compounded monthly. Yeah? Yeah. So this is the concept. This is the concept of nominal interest rate compounded monthly or compounded over a period. If you have a nominal interest rate compounded over a period, you have to find the interest rate on that period, specific period, okay? Which is going to be J divided by M. So it's going to be J divided by M, right? So J is going to be nominal frequency, nominal interest rate compounded in that period divided by compounding frequency. So that's going to be I. I is basically interest rate in that period. In that period, you have that interest rate. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the other way right now. So you want to know what's the interest rate, nominal interest rate compounded monthly. You multiply the interest rate in that period by 12. You will find nominal interest rate, annual interest rate compounded monthly. Okay. And then you want to find what's compounded yearly, what's effective interest rate. What is this effectively? If you want to compound it yearly, it's going to be this number. Okay. So in other words, we learn in compounding, right? We learn how does compounding work, right? So instead of you put your money, instead of you put your money every year in the bank and calculate the interest rate, you put every month. You take out the money, you put it again. You take out the money, you put it again. Take out the money, you put it again. You put it 12 times, right? 12 times become a year, okay? That's compounded monthly. So what's this equivalent? What's this equivalent to a 1 year? You put your money in 1 year and don't touch it, okay? What's the equivalent of this? How much going to be interest if I want to get? I say I don't have time for this. I say I don't have time. I don't want to put it every month. I just want to put it 1 year. Give me interest in 1 year so that I have the same interest if I put it every month. Okay, so that's the definition of effective interest rate. You understand what I mean? So you want to put your money in the bank for a year and don't touch it. You get this interest rate. That's going to be equivalent that if you put your money every month in the bank and get 1.2% per month. Okay, which is going to be 14.4% compounded monthly. Okay. All right, just get back to the basics of the course. The first slides of the explanation of the compounding interest, and then you will find your answer. If you have more questions, then I'm very happy to answer your question next week, because next week is a question and answer session. Okay. All right. Any more question? All right, so let's go for the next question. At what effective interest rate will $8,000 grow to $13,663.19 in 6 years? Okay. I'll give you 5 minutes for this as well. All right, let's look at the answers. All right, see quite a lot of A here. Let's see what the answer is. Yeah, A is right. All right, so this question is a little different than the other question, right? So it's not asking you to find effective interest rate, given you the other interest rate, right? So they're giving you the nominal interest rate with the different compounding period. It's just asking you what's the effective interest rate, and considering the fact that the effective interest rate is nominal interest rate annually or 6 years or 6 years. Okay, so give you present value, give you future value, give you the time, and define your interest. Ask you for interest rate. Okay, which we need to use other equation, right? The interest rate, right? So interest rate equation. So natural logarithmic of this one, right? So you have to use this one, the I equal to future value divided by present value, power of 1 over n minus 1. Okay, this we learned. When did we learn it? We learned it basically in last week course, right? So we learned how to find I, knowing the future value and present value and the time duration. Okay. So here in this equation, we have future value, we have present value, we have compounding frequency. Okay, so that's the tricky part of this question is that the effective interest rate is just the annual interest rate, the nominal interest rate with compounding frequency of annually. It's compounding frequency of 1, basically. So it means m equal to 1, n is equal to number of year multiplied by compounding frequency, which is 1, 6. We have n, and we have future value, we have present value. That we use this equation I equal to future value divided by present value 1 over n minus 1, and then we just put this stuff together, right? So in terms of calculator, let's calculate this together so that you guys become more familiar to use calculator to find this sort of numbers. Okay, 13,663.19 divided 8,000 power 1 over 6. Okay, let's do this together in the calculator so that we are at the same page. Okay, 13,663.19 divided by 8,000. Let me just go to calculator, clear everything, and 13,663.19, 13,663.19 divided by 8,000 divided by 8,000 equal to, so we store it in 1. Okay, store it in 1, as I said, store it in 1. 1 over 6, store it in 2. 1 divided by 6 equal to, store it in 2. Okay, so now we store this one at 1, store this guy at 2. Now recall 1, which is going to be this number, power of y over x, power of recall 2, which is going to be this number, equal to this one. Okay, and minus 1, minus 1. Okay. So that's going to be 9.3310. Okay, so that's how you use the calculator. Okay, just make sure you find the base first, and then store it. You find the power second, power the next step, and then you store it, and then you recall the first number, power of recall the second number. Okay, so that's going to be I. Since this I is the compounding frequency for this I is 1, then we do then you just I equal to J, right? So and it's going to be 9.33%. Okay, so I and J are the same. Okay. Using calculator method, if you want to do it in calculator method, what we have to do is just we don't know what's interest rate, right? We solved this problem last week, so this is a sample of similar to last week problem. So it's very similar to last week problem. We can do it in calculator as well. So we'll put 8,000 as a current investment, right? But make sure since it's the investment, it has to put the negative sign there, right? So make sure that the sign for present value and future value are different. Okay, so the sign has to be different. Okay, that's the present value, and then the future value is 13,663.19, 13,663.19 0.19. 0.19 is the future value. Okay, and then we don't know what's the interest rate, but we know it's 6 years, and we know the effective interest rate. So effective interest rate means compounded annually, right? So is a nominal interest rate compounded annually. So it means M, which is compound frequency, is 1. So we need to set M, right? So M equal to 1 already. So again, we put it 1. So M is 1. We have present value. We have future value, and we quit from that mode. And then what we need? We need just N, right? So sorry, we need the no, we have to put N as well. So N is 6, right? 6 years. N. Okay. So what we need only, we need the interest rate, right? So CPT interest rate is 9.33. Okay. 9.33. Okay. That's using calculator method. Okay. Any question? All right. No question means good. All right. All right, this is another example. This is the most complicated example in all the examples. So I'll give you another 5 minutes for this. Marcus went to a bank and obtained a personal loan with an interest rate of 5% compounded monthly. Okay. If the bank decided to deduct 2% from the effective interest rate, calculate the new interest rate compounded monthly. Okay. I'll give you 7 minutes for this because it's a little bit more complicated than the other one. I'll give you 7 minutes for this. All right, guys. I see some answers are most answers are B, and okay, we can go through that and solve that. But I just since that question raised about the compounding interest rate and annual interest rate, I just want to make sure you guys understand it. Okay, so I just want to go back to the basic. Okay, so one of you guys has difficulty to understand the concept of compounding interest rate and the annual interest rate. So let's presume. Okay, do you see my paintbrush? Do you see this? The paint at 12%. Do you see this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So okay. So suppose the whole period is 1 year. Okay, from here to here is 1 year. Okay, 1 year. Yeah. And you divide it into 12 parts. Okay, they say that your interest rate compounded monthly at 12%. Okay, so you know that nominal interest rate is 12%. Does it mean that if I put $100 in the bank, after months, after a year, do I get $112? Or yes or not? Monthly. So does it mean that if I say, okay, you have interest rate 12% compounded monthly, so does it mean that if I put $100 in the bank, do I get $112 after a year? Yes or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can someone answer this? Answer is no, because the 12% is compounded monthly. It's true that 12% is annual interest rate, but the annual interest rate is compounded monthly. It's not compounded yearly. If it's compounded yearly, yes, 12%. You put $100 there. After a year, you get $112. Okay, 12% on top of your money. Okay. But since this is compounded monthly, means that if I put $100 here at the first month, at the end of the first month, I'm gonna have 101.2, right? So it's 12%. 12% of this. Sorry. No. So okay. So 12% compounded monthly means 1% monthly, right? 12% compounded monthly means every month I have 1% on top of it. So it's going to be, let me just clear this guy. It's going to be $101, right? After a month, and after 2 months, it's not going to be $102. If it was $102, then after 12 months, it's going to be $112, right? But after 2 months, it's going to be 1% of this guy, which is going to be 1% of 101, which is going to be 102. Sorry, where is my pen? Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Is that my pen? This is my pen? Yes. It's going to be 102.1, right? Because it's 1% of this guy. 1% is going to 1.01, sorry. So it's 0.1, right? So 0.01 is going to be added to this guy, to 101, right? So because 1% of this guy is going to be 1.01, and added to 1.01 is going to be 1.02.01. So that 0.1 is going to be added again, and again, right? To 12. So after 12 months with 12% compounded monthly, I'm not going to have 112. I'm going to have something else. Okay. So that's the concept of compounding, right? Although you have the nominal interest rate, which is annual, but conceptually you can't use this as annual interest rate unless it specifically say annual interest rate compounded yearly or annually. Okay. Otherwise, you need to divide this guy to the number of period, which is in this case months, and then use this as interest rate per period. Okay. That's the whole concept of compounding, right? So please review the last week or the first week session, so that become more familiar with the concept of compounding. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go back to the equation. Do you have any question on this? Do you have any question on this? On this? No question?
So how does it relate to effective interest rate?
Okay, so effective interest rate is gonna be interest rate, the annual interest rate, compounding annually, which result with the same interest rate you have compounding monthly. Okay, so you have 1% right now compounded monthly, or 12% compounded 12% compounded monthly. Okay,
Yeah.
you have 12% compounded monthly. Okay, which is going to be 1% 1% per month. Okay, so effective interest rate is going to be equivalent of this. What's equivalent of this? So after I put $100 there, okay, after I put $100 there, let's calculate this, okay. After I put $100 here with 12% compounded monthly, after I do $100 there, let's calculate this first, okay. So I put $100 there, it's going to be $100. What's going to be equation? It's going to be 100 1 plus I, right, power of n, right, power of n, right. So I is 1%, right, 0.01, 0.01. N is 12, right? So 12. So let's calculate it with the calculator. So 100. Sorry. So let's do it the other way. So 1.01 power of 12 equal to multiply by 100. Okay. So 1.12.68, right? So the result of this calculation, like 12% compounded monthly, you put $100 at the beginning of the first month, you calculate at the end of the 12 months, you're gonna have this number, 112.68 and something. Okay, right? Am I right? Okay.
Yes.
So what's going to be effective interest rate? Effective interest rate, say, okay, get rid of all the months, okay? Give me the number at the end of the year to have equivalent of that of that component monthly. So what's going to be that one? It's going to be 12.68, right? If I have 12.68% per year, if I put $100 at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, I'm going to have 112.68, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So that's going to be effective interest rate. So effective interest rate is basically the nominal interest rate compounded yearly. After a year, give me a year. I don't want to see over months, over a day, or whatever. I want to see over a year how much I'm going to have over a year, and give me the equivalent interest rate that I'm going to charge my client to give me over a year rather than compounded monthly. Okay, that's the concept of effective interest rate.
I start getting it.
Say it again.
I start getting it.
You get it or you stop getting it?
I start getting the idea.
You start to getting the idea. I thought you said you stop getting the idea.
Oh no.
I thought you said you stopped getting the idea.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah.
The idea. All right. Thanks, God. All right.
Thank
You get the idea. I get the idea myself too, right? So when I'm explaining to yourself, I'm trying to understand myself too, right? So it's two way. It's not just one way.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So So any other question, guys? All right.
Can I go back to the 12% monthly and also 1%? Do you mean 12% compound monthly?
Yes, 12% compound monthly. Yes, 12% compound monthly. That's right. So it's going to be 1% per month. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Meaning 12% compound monthly, meaning at 1% per month. This is
That's
what
right.
you mean.
Exactly. That means 1% per month. That's right. So that's how you calculate I, right? So I is equal to J divided by M, right? J is 12 divided by M's compounding frequency is 12, right? So it's going to be 1, right? So that's how you calculate this. 12% compound monthly means 1% per month. That's all it means. It doesn't mean 12% per year. It just means 1% per month. You know some what I mean? So 12% is not 12% per year. It's 12.68% if you want to do it per year properly, effectively, right?
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, please ask this question the next week session. I'm really happy I do this painting paintbrush. I'm trying to learn it myself as well. So yeah, ask next week. Next week we go to question and answer. Probably gonna do a lot of paintbrush stuff, which is pretty interesting. All right, let's back to the question, and then we solve this question and we call it off. Okay. All right, so people, what was the people answer? Let's see how many people answer and what was the answer. All right, we got B, B, 2B, huh? Oh wow, B is right. Okay, congratulations to those guys who answered it correctly. It means they're really working very hard on this course. So all right, so how to do it? Okay, so first of all, it said that the loan is an interest rate of 5% compounded monthly, okay? So what's going to be effective? First of all, we need to find effective interest rate for this guy, okay? So 5% compound monthly, and then deduct 2% of it, okay? 2% from it, and then we come back again to find what's the compounded monthly for that effective interest rate, okay? So first we find effective interest rate for this, and then we deduct 2% from it, and then find what's compounded monthly for the new interest rate, okay? So that's a question, okay? So first of all, let's do that. Let's, for 5% compound monthly, find the effective interest rate. Let's do it with pen and paper, which is going to be, okay, so 5% compound monthly divided by 12 months, that's going to be interest rate per month, right? So it's a per month. And now use the equation of 1 plus I power of n minus 1 to find effective interest rate. It's going to be this, M is going to be 12. So effective interest rate is going to be 5.1161%. That's effective interest rate corresponding to 5% monthly, right? And now we wanted to deduct 2% from it, right? So to deduct 2% from it, it's going to be 3.11, and that's a new effective interest rate. And we want to know what kind of compounded monthly is going to be the same as this new interest rate, right? So how we do it? So we have new interest rate, okay? And get back to equivalent, basically equivalent interest rate. So we want to find equivalent interest rate to 3.11% compounded annually. Okay, so that's the same thing as effective interest rate, right? So the effective interest rate is nominal interest rate compounded annually, right? So we want to know what's going to be the compounded monthly interest rate if we know what's compounding annually is, right? So let's get back to the first slide of this course, of this lecture, which we discussed how to find the equivalent interest rate for 2 different compounding periods. Okay, so now we have I1, which is effective interest rate, which is basically compounded annually interest rate with the compounding frequency of 1. So I1 is going to be 3.11 whatever, and with M1 is equal to 1 because it's compounded annually, and M2 is going to be 12, right? So it's going to be, we want to find what's the compounded monthly equivalent of this guy, right? So 12. It's going to be that one, and then we find this I2, which is going to be per month, and we multiply by 12. It's going to give us the J2, which is going to be the nominal interest rate compounding monthly, correspond to 3.11 effective interest rate. Okay. Any question here? The other way of doing this is just easier. So we basically, you go to calculator. First of all, we find what's effective interest rate corresponding to 5% monthly, right? So to do that, go to calculator. Sorry, go to calculator. So it's 5%. So let's clear everything. So let's go to icon. And the nominal interest rate here is 5. So 5 is going to be nominal interest rate, and it's compounded monthly, right? So it's 12 is going to be compounding frequency. So now we want to know what's effective interest rate. The effective is 5.11, right? So based on these two numbers, 5.11, and now we deduct 2% from it, right? Deduct 2% from this effective interest rate. So we minus 2. Sorry. Did I? So it was 5.1161, right? So 5. So let me just get out of this mode. 5. Let me just get back to the same mode, okay? Let's do this, and now I quit that mode. Okay, so I quit that mode, and then so it's going to be 5.1161. 5.1161 minus 2, right? Minus 2 is equal to this 3.1161. Okay, so now I get back again to that calculator mode. So 3.1161 is going to be effective interest rate, right? So the new effective interest rate is going to be 3.11. I don't know whether I can do it minus 2 this guy. Can I do? No, I can't do that. 3.1161 effective, and number of compounding frequency is going to be 12. The only thing which we need to know is nominal, 3.07, okay, which is going to be 3.07 here. Yeah. So that's how we calculate this. Okay. So first of all, for that nominal interest rate, we find the effective interest rate. We deduct 2% from that effective interest rate. With the same compounding period, we want to know what's new nominal interest rate, which is going to be, we just put the CPT on this. Okay. So the calculator method is much easier to do with the calculator method, but without calculator method also you can do that. You have to use two equations, right? So the equation for effective interest rate and the equation for equivalent interest rates, right? So effective interest rate, you find the 1 plus I power of m minus 1, and equivalent interest rate is going to be I2 equal to 1 plus I1 power of m1 divided by m2 minus 1, right? So you use two equations here, okay? We use this equation for effective interest rate, right? We find the effective interest rate for that 5% compounded monthly, and then we use the other equation which we learned at the beginning of the lecture, which I2 equal to 1 plus I1 m1 divided by m2 minus 1, right? So in this case, we want to find equivalent interest rate for that effective interest rate, which is compounded monthly. Okay, so the effective interest rate compounded annually. We want to find what's effective, what is basically nominal interest rate compounded monthly to be equivalent to that effective interest rate. Okay. Any question? Any question? All right. So one more time. This is over. Just one more time. I just want to make sure that you guys. Let me just close this and then stop sharing the screen. Yeah, just one more time. I just want to make sure, guys, to prepare for next week. So bring your questions for the next week. Next week is going to be question and answers, right? So your test week is next week. It's very important. 25% of your mark is going to be next week. So do the mock test. Practice some mock test. If you have some question, bring it to the next week session. So we will solve it together. We just open basically a pen or whatever calculator. We solve it together, and that's it. So yeah, so that's all I want to say. So if you don't have any question, I will let you guys go and see you guys next week. Any question? All right, so yeah, see you guys next week then. Okay, have a good day. Have a good weekend,
Thank
guys.
you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, bye, bye, guys. Bye.